Turn with me to John chapter 21 this week. It's the end of John's Gospel, so you might be thinking, why are we doing this at the beginning of the year? But there's a lot of meat in here for us to feed our souls on. Jesus had risen from the dead, appeared to the disciples, and sometime later the disciples were all hanging around the Sea of Galilee. They decided to go fishing, and the next thing there was a man on the shore telling them to cast their net on the other side of the boat to hopefully catch some. And of course, when they did that, they caught a ridiculous amount of fish. They realized it was Jesus. Peter jumps out of the boat, swims to the shore, and they see that Jesus had built a little fire and was having some fish and bread. And I like what we read in verse 12. Jesus said to them, "Come and have breakfast." That's a simple phrase that you perhaps have never thought much of, but can you imagine an invitation from Jesus to a meal? In a sense, whenever we have communion, we think about how Jesus invites us to a meal with him. But it's a bit different there because there's all sorts of symbolism of his flesh and blood and all of that. But this invitation was simply an invitation to fellowship. Come and have breakfast. Could it be that Jesus offers us the same invitation every morning of our lives? Come and sit with me and have breakfast. Maybe we need to see our everyday meals as sacred times with Jesus and with our loved ones. We often think of fellowship with Jesus in terms of our Bible reading and prayer time and our worship time, which is very true. But what about our meals? What about coming and having breakfast with Jesus or supper with Jesus or lunch with Jesus every time we do? Inviting him to be part of that. That's why we say grace after all. Not just to thank him, but to invite him into the process. So, this year, every time you have a meal, hear the words of Jesus inviting you to fellowship with him at the meal. And I believe your relationship with him will deepen significantly if you always accept his invitation.